I can't believe I want to Justice League Part 2. Like, dang it, Barry! What timeline are we in? Hey everyone, my name is Michael Thomas, and today we're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, this is a pretty weird film to talk about because it's a movie that came out 4 or 5 years ago at this point. But that wasn't Zack Snyder's full intention and interpretation of the Justice League. So, after quite a long wait and quite a long fight, we finally get the Snyder Cut. It's real. I've watched it. Let's talk about it. Now, you might remember 2017's Justice League. It's kind of similar. Batman has to unite these other superheroes, these other super beings to take down this villain named Steppenwolf, who's like a herald of Darkseid, and he has an army of parademons coming to take down the Earth and retrieve 3 mother boxes. That stays the same. Nothing changes as far as plot. However, there are some things that obviously are added back in it because it's a 4-hour movie. There are character arcs that get to develop. There are story arcs that get to actually wrap up. And so it makes the Snyder Cut so much more fulfilling as a fan, as a viewer, than the Whedon Cut, I guess. Whatever we're going to refer to that other movie as from now on. It doesn't exist. The other movie doesn't exist. We won't talk about that ever again. But yeah, we have clear character arcs for characters like Cyborg and The Flash, something that we didn't get in the last film. I really love what they did with Victor Stone. Cyborg, Ray Fisher does a great job. His story is really, really incredible. It's one of the best origin stories in the DCEU, in my opinion. There are times where the character is kind of lifeless and humorless. He doesn't say things like booyah and stuff like that you might be familiar with from the Teen Titans animated series. But considering how early we are meeting Victor in his journey and in his origin story, I didn't have much of a problem with it. I would like to see that character return. However, it doesn't seem like Ray Fisher's going to be coming back anytime soon. But I really enjoyed what they did with him and the Flash. Them being like the new characters, technically Aquaman's new. It's weird retroactively reviewing a Justice League movie where Aquaman already came out. So you kind of have to like reset your brain. It's a weird experience, guys. Especially when the footage starts looking the same. And there are scenes that play out that are exactly the same from the other movie, but they're in a completely different context, and your brain is just kind of melting as you're watching this. I also love the growth of the returning characters. I love the growth of Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne, the way Ben Affleck portrays him, he has evolved from Batman vs. Superman. He's more hopeful. He's more optimistic. He's more trusting, which is something that I appreciate Snyder for doing. While I didn't like BVS, I'm glad that he stuck with the character growth that Batman had from that movie. He's a changed person. He's not even the same character from Batman vs. Superman, which is pretty remarkable. That also goes for Henry Cavill as Superman. Superman finally gets that character arc I've wanted him to have for the last 7 years. So the thing that really bugs me about Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman is the lack of character progression for Clark Kent. So he starts Man of Steel, not knowing if he should be Superman. The world isn't ready for Superman. His father, his parents are telling him not to be a hero. They're telling him to hide his abilities, which is, okay, fair for the first movie. But then the second movie, it's the same thing. The world's not ready for Superman. He doesn't know if he should be Superman. And so it's like he's spinning the tires waiting for Justice League, which at least Justice League finally gave him character progression. He finally makes his own decisions, makes his own choices instead of being told by other people what to do. So I really, really enjoyed Henry Cavill's performance here because he finally got to do something slightly different and slightly new, but I wish he had more screen time because Superman's not in this movie that much, y'all. I'm sorry if y'all think that's a spoil, but he's not in here that much. But when he is here, I enjoyed it. One of the problems, though, is that he's very disconnected when he appears because the League has already been doing stuff. And so he has no chemistry, nothing with these other characters. And so by the end of the movie, it feels kind of rushed. I know a 4-hour movie feels rushed, but it's like they were doing so much other stuff. before Clark is introduced to the Justice League that makes it feel like that should have been its own story. That's the story I would have liked to see. Like having Henry Cavill Superman, having to work side by side with Batman, the man who nearly killed him in the last movie. That would have been the story I wanted to see. But for what we got, I think Cavill did a great job. I just think he got shortchanged kind of for the second time in a row. But then, of course, we have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she continues to rock it. She's great, as always. She's a little more violent. Okay, a lot more violent. Like, she's killing dudes left and right now. I don't like it, really. I don't know. That's just me. She's way more violent than she is in the Patty Jenkins movies. I don't like super-powered beings killing regular, mortal, human dudes. No matter how evil they are. That just feels unbelievably messed up. It makes you think of The Boys. Like, I always feel like superpowered beings should probably keep their powers in check a little bit more, but whatever. Not that big a deal. So just kind of to wrap things up here, one of the issues that I did have is the runtime. This film is just way too long. Snyder is telling this grand, epic story. Something more akin to The Lord of the Rings as opposed to Avengers Age of Ultron. So, to do that, he needs a lot of time. Like how Avengers Infinity War Endgame needed much more time than the previous installments. However, I do think he went a little bit overboard. We see like 3 different fights over mother boxes, and it just starts to feel repetitive because it's the same thing. Fighting over mother boxes. And so that gets a little bit tiring. There's also some characters who appear throughout the movie, and they just don't really do anything. I'm not going to spoil it, but like in the first 2 hours of this movie, we would cut back to a character, and they're not doing anything. It's just kind of to remind you that they exist. And that goes to another thing that I dislike. There's this character that appears in this movie that didn't appear in the other Justice League, the 2017 film. This is a character that appears in this movie that irritates the crap out of me. He has no purpose, even though he tries to act like he does, and it's just really, really frustrating seeing this character show up and then leave, and then show up and then leave. You know, he's moving out without a purpose. He's just there because that's a cool thing, you know? And then there's Lois Lane and Martha Kent. They don't have a place in this story until Superman obviously comes back. And so they are just kind of there. And then when Superman returns again, he's so disconnected from the League. It almost feels like these are 2 separate stories. Like this should have been Man of Steel 2 and then Justice League, right? That's the only thing where the story feels a little disconnected from itself at times, where is why it probably feels long to me, because we're focusing on different stories, but they all feel like they should be their own movie, which is probably why Zack did break it up into parts. There is parts 1 through 6. So you can always stop, start to watch it that way. I had to watch it all the way through for review, so that probably isn't the best experience when it comes to watching Zack Snyder's Justice League. I recommend probably watching it in parts. As far as the villains go, Steppenwolf is still bad. However, he's far less bad. He's more threatening, more intimidating. It feels like this is somebody that the Justice League would struggle against. However, I just think Darkseid is way more interesting. Because Steppenwolf is just here for Darkseid. And that's fine. You know, Darkseid is like King of Apocalypse. He's not going to come down and do every mission himself. But it's just really, really weird that we're stuck with like this secondhand character that nobody, like even the people on Apocalypse don't seem to care about Steppenwolf. So why should we, you know? He's just kind of there for them to have somebody to fight. It's fine in my superhero movies. I don't mind them fighting random villains. But yeah, Steppenwolf's not great. Lastly, this movie, like Zack Snyder does, he likes to get a little lore heavy. A lot of DC fans might be able to follow this movie. There are some things that the average moviegoer will not pick up on or quite understand. Like, there are some things that happen that are just confusing. And so a lot of people might be Googling things like the anti-life equation, for example. They never really dive into that, but it plays a role in the story. So I would just be aware of that. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a superhero team up of epic proportions. Seeing the League one more time was always going to be fun, but I didn't quite expect it to be this much fun. This movie is action-packed, but it's also hopeful, and it's a message I didn't quite expect from a Snyder film. It truly is an epic, and I would love to see these characters again. That's something I didn't feel after watching Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, or the other Justice League film. That final scene, though, that epilogue, no, pass. Just, when y'all see it, I don't want it. But are you guys excited for the Snyder Cut? Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments, and let me know who is your favorite Justice League member. I think that's a pretty interesting conversation, so let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, stay flaming. Peace.